Over the last month, there's been a lot of bad news surrounding MrBeast that kind of started with his longtime collaborator, formerly Kris Tyson, when it came out that Kris was, I'm going to say, allegedly grooming minors. I'm saying allegedly because it wasn't properly adjudicated through the courts, so it hasn't been confirmed. But I mean, we do have the chat logs after all, so make with it what you will. And after that happened, it just kind of opened the floodgates where a lot of other people were coming out against MrBeast. And a lot of people were thinking probably this isn't really going to affect them all that much because he's still the biggest YouTuber on the planet right now. His channel still has over 300 million subscribers, so he should be able to weather the storm just fine. But it's looking like there might be more trouble for him on the horizon if a lot of this stuff is true, because even though he is the biggest YouTuber on the planet, that doesn't necessarily mean he won't fall. I will get more on what I mean by that in a moment. But first, let's look at this article from Dexerto, which is talking about just how bad things are going for him lately. MrBeast's YouTube channel bleeds views and subscribers as allegations rage on. That's the headline right there. Jumping down into the article, YouTube star MrBeast is seeing a significant decrease in channel growth thanks to the allegations surrounding his company and collaborators. Jimmy MrBeast Donaldson was up until very recently the darling of the internet. And he definitely was kind of the golden boy of YouTube, because you don't get the 300 million subscribers without YouTube pulling strings in your favor. I mean, there's no coincidence that every video that he makes gets put to the front page of YouTube. So there's people there who liked him and liked his content, but it's looking like that might not be the case if a lot of people are starting to turn on him right now. The multimillionaire influencer is best known for his over-the-top challenges, big budget videos, and massive cash giveaways on top of his multiple philanthropic endeavors. However, public sentiment has now turned against him following accusations against his former collaborator. I already talked about that, and then it goes on to talk about how people are complaining about his business practices, supposed business practices, treatment of his fellow staff members, and reportedly hiring a registered sex offender who appeared in his videos past. And that registered sex offender was the brother-in-law to Jake the Viking, another former collaborator, someone who's been pretty public against MrBeast since he was fired from the company. He actually defended this decision, though. Maybe that's because this person is, I guess you could say they're related if they're an in-law. And he was saying it's kind of blown out of proportions and all that stuff. You can check out his own Twitter if you want to see what he actually has to say about it. But either way, that's not really a good image, especially just on the surface, because that is true that he did hire him. And as far as some of the former staff members speaking out against him, you could just chalk that up to disgruntled employees, but still a lot of employees seem to be coming out like separate people are, and they all seem to be saying kind of the same things, and it doesn't look good for him. So that's kind of a bad sign, all things considered. This backlash has stunted growth on the YouTube channel in a major way. Donaldson, who currently reigns as the most subscribed channel on the platform with over 300 million subs, is now seeing a big decline in viewership, subscribers, and even potential revenue loss. And the article references the website ViewStats for these numbers. It's saying, according to that, it has 153 million less views than the previous 28-day period, with 12 million less subscribers than the previous 28-day period. So it's not looking too good. I pulled that up myself so you can take a look at it. As of the time of recording, it says it's 166 million less views than the previous period, and then 11 million less subscribers. Now, bear in mind, this isn't saying he lost 11 million subscribers or he lost 166 million views. It means it's less than what he should be getting. So normally during a particular time period, so he did lose subscribers because it says he would normally be getting around 6 million subscribers in that 28-day period. Instead, he got 11 million. So he did lose some there. He didn't necessarily lose views per se. He just is getting significantly less views. If it's actually 2 billion normally and it's 166 million less, that's a pretty significant loss, all things considered. Now, what does this mean for his channel as a whole? Because obviously when it comes to views on the internet, that's where you get a lot of your revenue from. But when it comes to MrBeast, that's not necessarily the case. He's even talked about it in an interview. This is from last March, where he actually says he pretty much loses money on his videos because of the way the market works. they don't really monetize. I mean, he obviously gets some money from the views on his videos, but it's not as much as what one would think. So he needs to actually make his bread and butter through brand deals and other stuff like that. In a recent clip uploaded to YouTube, MrBeast highlighted the disconnect between his channel's astronomical viewership and the limitations of traditional advertising on YouTube. Our views are crazy, he says. Sometimes videos get 200 million views. And just to kind of oversimplify how this all works, advertisers pay usually per view on a video, and it's kind of a small amount, but since MrBeast gets so many views, then advertisers would have to pay a lot of money in order to advertise with him. So he's really not able to get the money that he actually deserves for the amount of views that he's bringing in. So that's why he's saying he's kind of being undervalued. This viewership translates to immense potential for advertisers. However, he argues that the current advertising model struggles to adequately compensate creators for such massive audiences. He explained the advertiser dilemma. For a lot of people that advertise on YouTube, it's like literally half their entire yearly spend on YouTube would have to go to me for one video. So that's why he's not making as much as what he actually could. This creates an impasse. Brands can't afford to pay what MrBeast viewerships deserve, and he feels undervalued as a result of the down negotiation. My videos don't make money. Even when I do a brand deal on a video, I still lose money. I lose like over $1 million a video, and that's because he spends so much on producing his videos. So he has to try to find a way to make money outside of the views on his video himself, even from like advertisers and brand deals that he has on his videos. And that's why he tried to basically leverage his brand and create other things. That's where you get like those Feastables and Beast Burgers, but both those endeavors really didn't do too well for him. The Feastable ones, most people are just thinking like, well, I'm not going to pay $5 for a chocolate bar. I don't care how good it is. And there was those issues with Beast Burgers in the past where basically the quality control was out the window because it's just kind of like licensing it to other people who are selling it, and it's not up to quality. So that's kind of going bad. And the problem with him too is even though he is very popular on YouTube, it really doesn't necessarily spill over into the real world. So even though a lot of people who are just really online know who he is, outside of people who just get a lot of their entertainment on YouTube, even though it's a significant amount, it's still not really that big. So he's really not able to break out into the mainstream. His show with Amazon and his deal with them is basically his attempt to try to break into the mainstream. And so far, that's basically just been plagued with a bunch of controversy when people are coming out and saying that it was rigged and that they were treating people badly behind the scenes and all that other stuff. But when you look down at this, a lot of people are thinking like, well, he's still the #1 YouTube channel, so that must be worth something, right? Well, not necessarily, because since he has to be beholden to advertisers and other things outside of just the people watching his views, because if he's not able to make enough money by people just watching his videos, then that means he has to be beholden to someone else outside of just the viewer, and it's usually advertisers. And when people actually see that his company is starting to lose subscribers, well, then maybe they might start thinking, okay, he's already reached his peak and he's kind of on his downward turn. And if that's the case, well, why do they want to advertise with a channel that's on the downward swing, even though it's still bringing a lot of eyes to it? It might not necessarily be considered a safe bet. And others might say like, well, he's a big enough channel so he can weather the storm on this one. But you got to keep in mind, he's ultimately just the face of another company. And they're in the US, particularly, I looked up bankruptcies in the US, the largest ones. And there's a lot of companies much bigger than his that have actually gone under. This one right here, what is that? $691 billion for an investment bank. That's the largest company to ever go bankrupt. This power company was the number 20th that it has on this list, $27 billion. And I know his company is significantly less valuable than that. And just also for comparison, I looked at entertainment companies because that's kind of what he is. And there's a lot of major entertainment companies that ultimately went bankrupt. New World Pictures, Rankin and Bass, Film District. You get the idea. There's a lot of major entertainment companies that produced a lot more and were valued at a lot higher, have gone under. So it's not like his company is invincible or impervious to this. It can very much happen to him too. I think what he probably should do is basically recognize that no good thing lasts forever. His channel, while it was wildly successful, it's eventually going to end, and he just has to kind of consider how does he want it to end. And he could just kind of continue investing his own money into it and trying to keep it afloat, or he can basically try to rebrand, change it, and maybe take a behind the scenes approach, because he's clearly someone who is more business oriented. So maybe he should take kind of a backstage approach to all this and just kind of manage things like that, and then start up something different. And I think he could actually be pretty successful if he did that. But if he kept trying to push it and make sure that his main channel stays what it is, then I think eventually it is going to fold, because that's just the nature of the internet. People just kind of move on from different things, and you kind of have to grow or end up dying off. I don't know if he's really able to make that leap, or if he's going to try to continue on with how he's been doing things. And if he does that, then it's probably going to be to his own detriment. But let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Do you think his channel is eventually going to go under? And I'm not even saying like within the next year or even the 5 years, but eventually it'll just kind of fade away? Or do you think he'll actually try to change it up himself in order to keep it alive? And if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And if you can, click that like button and share the video out there, because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.